This is Eagle Owl, and today we're going to talk about Jalen Hurts going off on CJ Gardner Johnson. Also, we're going to talk about Micah Parsons somewhat dissing Jalen Hurts. Lastly, Myles Garrett. Put some respect on Jalen Carter's name, but let's get straight into it. To talk about today's sponsor, BetUS. Use promo code U2150, get 150% boost on your first deposit, and then on your next two deposits, get 125% boost. Again, use promo code U2150. You can do this up to $2,000. But let's get into these quick hits, man. Let's talk about, I guess, the game a little bit. A prediction. Yes, I'm going to give a prediction right here. So what I believe is going to happen, I think it's going to be a 30 to 24, 23-ish type game. Or I'm going to go with 30 to 23 Eagles win. I think our offense doesn't turn the ball over. I believe our defense step up and stop Patrick Mahomes, and I believe we get the turnover. Now, a lot of people go back to the Super Bowl 2 years ago, like, well, Jalen Hurts didn't turn it over. And it's going to be the same thing with them. I think we're going to force a turnover if Patrick Mahomes don't throw a pick. We're going to force one. And been like that, what, all through the playoffs. Remember, Jordan Love had one of his worst days. Matthew Stafford fumbled, and we forced fumbles against the Washington Commanders. I think that trend continues, in my personal opinion, and we capitalize. I'm not saying to blow out like the other Eagles fans. I want that, to be honest, but give me 30-24 Eagles. We win this game, and I think we win in all phases. Like, we don't punt the ball and then they run it back to like the six. I don't think none of that's going to happen. I think the running game is going to be a lot better than 2 years ago when we played them. So, again, man, I'm giving it to the Eagles. I know a lot of people like Patrick Mahomes. It's legendary, this, that, and the third. I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles. And you might ask me, why am I giving my prediction now? Because usually Sunday mornings, I don't shoot videos. I just prepare for the game. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to prepare for the Super Bowl. I'm going to keep the same flow I usually do. Just prepare, wait, and win or lose, Eagle Owl will, have a video out that Sunday night talking about it, win or lose. So, yeah, that's my prediction, man. 30-24 Eagles. Jalen Hurts holding up that trophy, and I think he's going to win MVP. All right. Another quick hit. We're going to talk about CJ Gardner Johnson just a bit. He talked about his time in Detroit, and he said it was hell. Like, that's why he really didn't go through the rehab. He was over there like it just is what it is. To me, this is what CJ Gardner Johnson do. He dissed us when he left. He dissed the Saints. I mean, could have been hell, maybe. In my personal opinion, I believe when they drafted the safety that they got, I can't think of his name right now, Branch. When they drafted him and they had Kirby Joseph, I think they was trying to push CJ Gardner Johnson out the door. And that's why it was so surprising when they signed CJ Gardner Johnson, because it's like, yo, y'all got safeties. Like, it just don't make sense. So maybe he felt like he was being pushed out, but from the outside looking in, I thought they was going to push him out regardless. He got injured. You got two new studs, and those safeties are doing great. Branch and Kirby Joseph, they doing great there. I wanted us to draft Kirby Joseph a couple years ago. So that's what I think. Philly was always his home. I think even over New Orleans, Philly felt like a CJ Gardner Johnson place. He probably didn't want to leave, but he probably felt disrespected by the contract. And now when you look back at it, it's like, damn, we really paid what Slay and Bradbury over CJ Gardner Johnson. Like, that's crazy. But Slay is doing well. James Bradbury, I don't know what he's doing. And we end up getting CJ Gardner Johnson back anyway. But I want to harp on that. Just some news that's out there. An injury report. So Britton Covey is officially out, and Brandon Graham is officially questionable. But it's another name that's up there, Nick Gates. I wonder if they're going to make him inactive or move him off the active roster and try to elevate Brandon Graham. We'll see how tomorrow goes and how Sunday goes. So it's a shot that Brandon Graham he will play, and he was a full participant. That's a huge thing. So we will see. I hope he play, make it his last game, and go out with a bang. Because a lot of players that we want to retire with that ring, but a lot of them don't get a chance to do it. And Brandon Graham got a legitimate shot to do it. All right. So let's get into these topics. I just talked about CJ Gardner Johnson. Let's go back to CJ Gardner Johnson. So I believe EJ Smith, Eagles reporter, he wrote a report how Jalen Hurts, he got this fire in his belly. Like a lot of people see him now, like a lot of ladies see him as the set symbol. A lot of the guys see him like, oh, he's just this cool, calm, and collected guy when you see him. But when you see his mic'd up or when he's on the field and when he with his teammates, he seemed like a fired up warrior out there. And CJ Gardner Johnson spoke about like a recent time they was in practice. I think it was before the Rams game. He was just practicing some scenarios, and CJ Gardner Johnson being CJ Gardner Johnson, I guess the defense was getting a couple stops, and Jalen Hurts got the best of him. You know what he said? You like that now, bitch. Like he went off on CJ Gardner Johnson. He said, you like that now, B. So look, man, Jalen Hurts talk his talk. Cause I remember seeing him mic'd up. I think he got hit by the safety on the Rams. And the Rams guy said something like, oh, why you sliding this and that? He like, watch what you wish for. Nick, I've been trying to stay away from the N-word. So maybe in my beginning, y'all said stop saying that. But he was like, how do you like that? Like aggressively. So I'm not surprised that Jalen Hurts got that fire in his belly. And then the rest of the article, gotta read it, man. It was really good. His father, was talking about how Jalen Hurts, I think back in high school, something happened. He like, I don't got no B in my blood. Like I ain't no punk. I ain't no sucker. Like that's how Jalen Hurts be talking. While again, the ladies got him as this freaking set symbol, whatever, in their mind. Well, shoot, Dominique Foxworth got him as that in his mind as well. But again, the men see him as a laid back type dude. But some tells me he got another alter ego of being that guy. So it's good to hear that our quarterback got that fire in his belly. And then, I talked to other guys that's fans of other teams. They try to figure out why Eagles fans, why a lot of us love Jalen Hurts. Because when they watch the box scores, they be like, okay, he's a really good quarterback. He had up and down days. Like, why do we really like him? Or why do we really believe he could be Patrick Mahomes? One thing I could say is I've seen Lamar Jackson. I've seen the Josh Allens of the world. I see Justin Herberts and stuff like that. They can throw, they can do things, and they're very talented. But what I will say is that those guys on the big stage, they fall short, man. What I can say about my guy is that when it's time, when it's 2 minutes left, or when we really need to win, he shows up and shows out. When we need his arm, he know what to do. When we need his legs, he know what to do. Jalen Hurts is a pure winner. In Philadelphia, we don't care about the stats. You see how Washington, they got their ass blown out. But they keep talking about, well, our guy, Jaden Daniels, had a good game. I'm like, no, he did not. And that's the argument, is that Jaden Daniels just having these phenomenal games or losing by 30-plus points. He had a phenomenal game. Like, no, he didn't. They more hurt that Jaden Daniels didn't have that game than losing the game. Like, I don't care. Like, Jalen Hurts had one of his best games in the Super Bowl. Yeah, we bring it up here and there to prove a point, but if Jalen Hurts threw for 150, a touchdown, and ran one in, and ran only like 20 yards, and we won the Super Bowl, I would have been cool with that. I would have been cool with that. I like my guy Jalen Hurts, man. I do. I ride for him, man. All right, and let's get into this next topic. Speaking of Jalen Hurts, Micah Parsons has something to say on how Chiefs can beat the Philadelphia Eagles.
What's the secret for the Chiefs stopping Saquon Barkley? He had 66 yards against you guys in that game.
Yeah, you gotta put the ball in the Jalen Hurts' hand. If you're gonna choose one person to have it in the backfield, I'm choosing Jalen Hurts every time. You gotta make Jalen Hurts win the game. And the Eagles been doing a great job of letting Saquon and other guys kind of mix in and doing the dirty work. But respectfully, you gotta have Jalen holding the ball. You gotta make him make the pass, make him think, keep the game manageable. You can't just let them kind of just run the clock out with Saquon or get creative with Saquon. You got to have the ball in Jalen Hurts' hands. And it's kind of opposite of what you would usually say, where you would say, "Oh, you got to keep the ball in the running back's hands and things like that." But nah, you gotta find a way to.
There it is.
You got to
There it
force
is.
Jalen to keep the ball in his hands.
Once again, throwing the shot. When you hear a guy say no offense, usually something offensive is going to come up. He's saying like, well, make Jalen Hurts. It's such a lazy analysis because it's just not that simple as stopping Saquon Barkley. One, two, Jalen Hurts can beat you with his arm. Ask the Packers week one. Basically beat him with his arm. Ask the Steelers. Steelers, you could say the Cowboys too, and we blew them out. Somewhat slowed down Saquon Barkley, and we won the game. We won the game, man. Like, Jalen Hurts can win games without Saquon Barkley. I don't want him to try to prove that this week because the formula for most part of the season has been using Saquon Barkley. And that's exactly what we're going to do. AJ is going to beat you like he always do against the Chiefs. Devontae Smith always get like 99 plus yards on the Chiefs. I don't think that changes. And I think we locked and loaded and ready. But I think it's lazy. Like, you got Dak, who his brother love, who he loved, Micah Parsons, but that gets them nowhere. Hell, I think the Cooper Rush guy looked better than Dak, in my personal opinion. It's been time and time again where Cooper Rush looked better than Dak. It just is what it is. It is what it is, man. And Cowboys fans get offended by that. And that's just the cold hard truth. Our guy been to 2 Super Bowls. Your guy didn't. Your guy had teams like this. He had Zeke running for 1,000 yards, had Trayvon Diggs catching 10 plus picks, had Micah Parsons doing Micah Parsons things, great things statistically. Had CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper. He couldn't take them anywhere. And he had the best O line in football. Could not take them anywhere. And he had Kellen Moore. I'm just saying. It's funny that Kellen Moore had Justin Herbert, who everybody loved, got Kellen Moore fired, had Dak all them years. Kellen Moore couldn't get a head coaching job. 1 year with Jalen Hurts. 1 year. Kellen Moore is basically a head coach. It's not officially announced, but he's basically a head coach. That should let you know. So while Micah Parsons keeps showing up to Eagles Super Bowls, dissing Jalen Hurts. Remember he showed up to the last Super Bowl, dissing Jalen Hurts and saying like, oh, he's no different than Daniel Jones, this and that and the third. It was reports floating around. And then he like, is it the team or is it Hurts? It's like he going with that same narrative again. I don't know. He got that hate in his heart. That hate in his heart is strong as hell. He got to get it out of there, man. Need to get that. I want to say some words. He needs to get that hate out his heart. I'm gonna just keep it at that. Right. Last topic. Last topic. Myles Garrett, man, has some nice words to say about Jalen Carter, and this is what he had to say.
Think of Jalen Carter's game.
I think he's spectacular.
Yeah.
I think if he keeps a good head on his shoulders, he'll be a dominant player for years to come. But no, he's strong. He's explosive. He works his hands well, and no, I think he can really be fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I would love for you to play with Jalen Carter too. Imagine you, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith. Ooh, I would love that. But again, it's good that Jalen Carter is getting all the love he's getting because it's well deserved. It is well deserved, man, and I'm really happy for Jalen Carter. Again, if Myles Garrett could some way somehow come to the Philadelphia Eagles, I'll be very happy. I know there's like things floating around, like should we trade? No, we're not trading Nolan Smith. I'm sorry, I love Myles Garrett, and why would you trade your young talent who's going to be here for the next 10 plus years for a guy who's going to be around for like got 3 to 5 good more years in him. No, I wouldn't do that. I think you could trade some picks. I don't want to get rid of a player though. Maybe you have to, but I'm not sure who that player will be. Maybe they take Dallas Goddard or something since he on this last year. I don't know, but I don't want to talk about that stuff because we got the big game tomorrow. But that's all I got for you guys today. Hey man, what do you think? How do you feel about the news? Look, man, I can't even give the full wrap up. I will say this: Sunday is the big day. We all gonna be watching, man. It's Saturday, man. My heart's skipping beats. But again, shout out to Bet US, and this is Eagle Al. I'm out.